Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Brittany Lee.
I mean, Fuego here.
Back to do a quick spoiler discussion, you guys, for Annabelle Creation. We just got done doing our regular review. We all enjoyed the movie more than we thought we were going to. It was a little thin at parts, but overall, there was some really good scares in our estimation. So I think let's just sort of jump into whatever we want to spoil. But I think the first thing we need to say is that the girl that we mentioned, the crippled one with the leg brace, that finds the doll and is the first one to get tormented, much like some of these other movies that have come out, even in the Conjuring verse, she ends up getting possessed by the Annabelle girl.
And the part where she finally gets her, because
The
you
demon,
think for a
right?
while the demon is not going to get her because she evades it for a while, and I kept thinking it was going to be the little shorter girl who was going to get it, and that didn't end up happening.
And by the way, the reveal of the malevolence, I thought was awesome.
That scared me.
Yeah, because
genuinely scared me.
Because she starts to see the little girl, the Annabelle, the dead Annabelle girl, but mostly from behind, right? Staring out a window. And the first time she sees her, she's like, hello? And she like walks up and she's like, I want, what did she say? I want something from you? Or
I want your help.
Can you help?
No. Oh, yeah, can you help me?
Can you oh, is that what it was?
I need something.
I need your help.
I need, what is it?
need
Yeah,
your
that
help.
was it.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
need your
need
help.
from me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Soul.
Yeah, and she turns around and it's all little girl demon face, and at that point, like, the game is on. Like, the black sort of stuff starts to come out, and then
I was sitting between these two, and I think all three of us went.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
So yeah, that's the first time she notices, and then she keeps getting sort of tormented by it until it corners her and vomits itself into her mouth, as is sort of the method of getting into people.
Yeah.
That's how you get into people?
Absolutely, I vomit into their mouth.
I don't know. It's funny because, like, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm gonna have to go. I never return.
No, the whole time I was sitting there thinking, well, I was thinking, like, no, she has to accept him. She has to accept him because they already did that with the doll. So it was all
really?
it seems weird that they would just force it upon her. But
I think maybe the doll was sort of because eventually we find out from the homeowners that after their let's spoil the very beginning, I guess.
Their daughter gets run over by a truck in a very graphic,
big time car,
quick fashion.
Let's try to get this wheel off. Oh, there goes a lug nut. Oh, get it! Boom!
Yeah, she gets creamed by a car. It actually cuts to black, so you don't really see it, but it's done so effectively and so last second.
It's like, that
it's hard. You have to
you
imagine.
hear the screams.
Yeah. And so what happened after that is apparently they started to feel a weird presence, and
beckon the presence, which being religious people I thought was so redonkulous, and there was something about the script that I didn't like as much. I'm like, okay, they're going to go to any means necessary, but I guess desperate people. I mean, look at the Dark Song, or look at
they thought,
other side of the door. I mean, people do dumb things when they just have to make contact with their dead kids or loved ones or whatever. Pet Cemetery.
But it's like they
Stephen
say.
King reference.
They even said in the trailer, we thought it was our daughter, but it wasn't. So
because it never is.
But that's the thing. When you beckon a presence from on the other side, you're not necessarily going to get the presence you're hoping for.
Right.
No, you're going to get the nearest presence who's listening, and those nearest presence are the most evil ones because they know how to listen for you.
And there was this clawed black demon looking craziness, and anytime it possessed bodies and they were doing the straight up contorted kind of cracking
that was the other thing. The first time we saw the Annabelle demon, it cut to her hand because it grabbed she grabbed the and it was this weird messed up hand, but it also had the red sort of fingernails too.
Yeah, and
it looked just trippy.
It was a good design. I liked it.
But the other thing that so she gets vomited into and she gets possessed, right?
Which I still didn't think was going to happen.
And then her whole demeanor just.
But she was like strong of faith and as the whatever presented, and so that's why I thought it was going to be another girl.
The sister was like a year stronger than any of us.
No, but what ended up happening at one point was after she gets possessed, after the girl with the leg brace gets possessed, her friend starts to get tormented now by the girl in the leg brace and the doll, and so at one point she's like cowering on the porch, and the man, the homeowner, who's wife has wears a Phantom of the Opera mask.
Exactly.
We don't know exactly why.
We found that.
But she stays in her room and rings the bell, which leads to another awesome scare that you guys should talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, so he comes out. The owner comes out and asks what's wrong, and she reveals that they found the doll, and he's like, "No, you can't do that." And he goes back in and is looking around, and as he's looking around, the cinematography was amazing in this movie because they used stuff you didn't expect for scares, and so you just see her wheelchair come in, and then she stands up, and she's still in view. The hall behind her is dark, but she's still in view, and she's just standing there. And he's just like, what's your name, Jessica, maybe?
Janice.
No, Janice, yeah.
Janice, okay. Says Janice, and then she like does the, that thing, but then she steps back, and then, but her eyes glow yellow, and then she like starts to grow, and like, but the eyes do the. You don't see her, but you see the eyes doing that, and that weird, nasty thing. I was like, that's again, we've seen the eyes glowing in the dark, and we've seen that thing, but we've never seen them combine, and it fucking creeped me out. And then when it grew and it was this massive, like you didn't actually see how massive it was. It was all shadow.
What was scarier was the fact it was just a silhouette growing and in the background, kind of out of focus almost.
Could have been Tall Manny or a Crooked Manny.
That's what it reminded me of, honestly.
They also had the other moment where the mother who has the Phantom of the Opera mask, she walked in on her daughter. When she came back, her daughter, and she's sitting there with the doll.
Again, from the
and
very
then she
first
starts
teaser
doing
that we saw.
Contorting, and then she starts growing.
And
elongates. She grows, and her dress does not grow with her like the way they usually do they give them. It was just creepiest thing. This little teeny tiny dress on this creepy ass contorting woman thing. Oh God, it was effective.
Does anyone want to talk about the bell scare?
Oh, the bell scare was so great.
Where the girls were under the sheet, and they were just like imagining. They're like, she's locked away. The wife of the guy.
Girls. They were like 16.
They were the real bitches,
it was really
too,
effective.
honestly.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we're not scared of anything.
Yeah, anyway, they hear the bell of the mom, and it gets closer and closer, and then they hear it in the room, and it gets
the shadow.
Yeah, they see the shadow, and then it's
they
real
lift
clever.
it, and there's nothing there, and then they pull the sheet back
and
down.
and they do it again, and then there is something there, but then they yank the sheet the rest of the way off, and it's gone, and it's like, oh man, it's just so effectively done. So I just really wanted to hit on that shadow one because that was so effective for me. Anyone want to do the one from the outside that we talked about in the regular review when she was outside in the daytime?
Oh, the sense of things are gonna be okay, breathing room, like Brittany mentioned.
They wheel her chair outside.
Yeah, and the nun walks away, and then immediately, like a moment later, hands are there, and it's like hands just like the nun.
Not just hands, but like, she's just sitting there, and you're just sitting there, and she like leans back like.
And does anybody else?
And she just gets like jarred from behind.
Does anybody else feel like that was our sister from The Conjuring 2?
Because it was in a nun outfit.
It's a nun outfit.
But it was her nun outfit. It kept changing forms to whatever would like, be effective to the scare.
Yeah, which makes me want to mention the scarecrow.
Oh yeah, okay, go ahead.
Well,
before we do sticking with the nun thing, there was a nod to the nun aspect of the universe where
in a certain photo.
The sister picked up the photograph and saw there were a bunch of nuns standing next to each other.
It looked like there were 3.
There were 4 nuns. There was her and the 3.
Yeah, her and 3 others.
All of a sudden, they're in the
she's looking at it, and they're standing like next to a stable or something that's like a dark area behind them. And then just real briefly, you see the nun like flash up and then fade away just real quick. The nun from The Conjuring 2.
The homeowner, he asks, he goes, "Who's this woman?"
Yeah, because you turn it and
I don't know. I don't remember meeting her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was turning it and you could see kind of like one of those like illusion kind of photos. And they play it again later on when the shorter hair girl finds a photo of the daughter with Annabelle. And when she was like, it was the cripple girl.
It was the cripple girl at the very beginning when she first got, and when she was going into the mother's room. She was sneaking in there because the nurse was sorry, I'm sorry, Mark.
Hello, nurse.
I'm sorry. I like to piggyback. I'm very bad.
Anyway, so my point was that she finds the photo and she brings it with her because she's finding these connections and she's looking at it, and when she goes to put it down, once it gets into the shadow, she sees the glowing in the eyes of the little girl, which I thought was interesting that they did in the girl and not the doll. Because. So was the girl possessed?
The doll was just a conduit.
Like,
I don't know.
That part kind of got to me. But the one that really stuck out was when they were in the room, and the short-haired girl had followed the crippled in there, and because the music box was playing. And she picks up this toy and she's like, "What's going on in here?" And she shoots it. It's like a ball attached to it. And she accidentally hits Annabelle in the face. And then, like, they're talking and she looks, and because Annabelle's face gets pushed towards the window. And then she's in there talking like, "I don't know if we should be in here anymore." And, like, she looks at Annabelle and she's staring at her. And she's like, "Nope. We should go. This is not cool." And then they play it later on with that same toy, and when she shoots it out into the darkness and reels it back in, and then shoots it out again, and next thing it grabs the ball.
It's almost like a fishing line when you get a bite and you're trying to reel it in and it just snags and you're like, "Oh shit!"
Rips it out from her hands, and of course she's freaking out.
Well,
but
the tension before when it got pulled up
to the ceiling, because all you see is the string into the darkness, and it just goes up, and the sound design, like Marsha said, the sound design where you could hear like clawing of something going up to the ceiling. Like, so effective. But go ahead, finish.
But and then, so she runs up, she loses the thing, and she runs up into, like, what all kids will do, run up into her bed and put the covers on, but she's still looking.
Yeah, she's stupid. If you put the covers on, you put the covers on, you don't open the covers, you stay in your protective blanket.
Right. So, she's...
It's the only way it works.
So she's looking out, trying to make sure, like, see what's coming in, what's not coming in the room. And you can't see anything, but you see footprints that lead all the way up to her bed, because the bed shakes, and she's like, "What's going on?" She looks down to the crack of the bed, and you see Annabelle sitting there, and she's like, "No."
Staring up through the crack.
Yeah, the random placement of the doll throughout. Anytime it showed up,
it was really good.
Yeah, it was good. And I also liked when it took on a different inanimate object, which was this scarecrow that they show at the beginning. And then there's this beat in the barn where you see the demon like kind of trying to rip itself out of the scarecrow, and you see the teeth and the black claws like coming out of the hands, and it was good, man. That part I especially liked.
Yeah, the black claws were good. The little dumbwaiter.
Yeah, I was gonna say the dumbwaiter thing
good.
Where he's pulling it down.
That was a tense moment.
Yeah,
where the girl was trying to, like, she's pulling up, and then she looks back down, and it's crawling right about her. Severed half of the mom, by the way. The mom gets like chopped in half and is like crucified on the wall.
Yeah,
the
first
goriest
she sees
scene
the
in the whole movie.
crucifixion, and then the flashlight moves down, and like, oh, there's no lower half.
Yeah, and I'd say that. I mean, besides that, there was really only the finger scene.
Oh, that was
which
great.
had any legitimate like bits of like, oh, that's kind of gory, but they really just they went full fucking niner with this lady.
And
just
by finger scene, what Fuego, that's actually a really important scene, I thought, as far as a new scare goes, because how many times have we seen someone hold up a cross? And all the most we've seen is the cross melts, the cross bursts into flame,
and
they have to drop it.
Priest before, I want to
say. But it was really cool because he's holding it, and literally, like Fuego said, one by one, all of his fingers break all the way back, and then his thumb too.
And so he'll drop the cross, and it can actually go right at him and kill him.
It's really cool.
Yeah, effective.
I think the biggest thing that bothered me, though, was the fact that the girl was possessed, yet the demon kept coming out in different areas of the property to attack other people where she wasn't. So I think that part kind of threw it off for me, and especially when they tied it in to the first prequel, or the first Annabelle, that was to tie the two movies together.
But I don't think it had to be where she was. It just had to be where the doll was. Because that was what the first one was. Remember, the only way the doll moved was when the creature was carrying it around and stuff. So when the doll, if the doll is nearby, then it would make sense that the demon is there too. Because the demon just took the doll. Like, I think once the demon was let into the doll, it can move with the doll, except if it's locked in a closet lined by Bible pages.
Yeah, or
that's the only way I could. I'm kind of like excusing it. You know?
It's just like you're possessed, but it possesses.
At that point,
her.
It gets. It's maybe it splits its thing. Yeah,
well,
you're right.
You're right. It just seems a little weird.
Well, and that was something I bitched about in the regular review, where I was like, okay, so it can open the door of the room that it was originally trapped in, you know, unlock stuff, but then there's other doors that it couldn't unlock, and it's banging on these doors, and I'm like, okay, so it can move freely in certain parts, but then there's others where it couldn't, and I know those scenes were to build tension, but nonetheless, I don't know, it just felt a little illogical at points. But then again, this movie wasn't really logical throughout. It didn't explain everything supremely thoroughly, but you know, I mean, once again, we're here to see some gore and scares, and you know, and it delivered there. So
in a movie like this, I always forgive it more because it always feels like it's the power that the demon's having over the person who's fighting it. Like, there's moments where they're stronger than they realize, and they're able to mentally overpower it more than at other moments where they're more terrified.
Yeah, there's enough satisfying situations to outweigh the silliness that we saw at times. Yeah. So.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to cover it for our spoilers discussion. We just kind of wanted to talk about all the cool stuff. I did anyway, so I kept everyone a little late to do it. But I think it's definitely worth your time, like we said in the regular review. Go check it out. Obviously, we may have told you about all this stuff, but it's still going to be fun to experience for yourselves because you don't know the order of operations and you don't know how it's all going to unfold. So definitely go check it out. But thanks again for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Brittany Lee.
Gracias, I'm Fuego.
I'm Ruxpin.
And remember, stay scared.